Get
Uh,
your chili up.
I wish I could hear it. I can't hear it.
Two birds is brrr, 2025, 2025, 2025.
One day after the Super Bowl, glad to be here. Did you check when we
Oh man.
recorded last?
No, but I can look it up. I mean, the thing is you posted it not too
No,
long ago. Like,
no. I think this last one I did right after,
really?
2 months ago. I can look by looking at the background. Let's see. All right, I see your face. I
Dude,
was
2 birds, almost
in
17 subscribers.
Osaka. Yes, this is 2 months ago. Like 3 months ago. This was 3 months ago.
We recorded this 3 months ago?
Yeah,
Really? Damn.
yeah,
Okay, that hasn't been that long.
yeah.
An
No, but
in-depth
still.
analysis into geographic locations across the USA.
That was funny, man.
Hey, shout out all 5 viewers, man. That's so crazy. That's actually so crazy. I like that the actual recording is there now too. I feel like that's gonna be lit.
A nice
Damn, those
addition for
arms are kind
sure.
of crazy. Those arms are kind of crazy, brother. Okay.
Just
G-Man, man.
me and you and me and you and me.
Where do we start? Right where we
We
begin?
could we could talk about, what are your thoughts on like Kenya? What are your thoughts on
Dude, we need some more
Uganda? What
geographic locations, bro.
Oh man. I don't know. I'm really glad you kept pushing to record these because sometimes I get into these places where I like imagine myself being 60 or 70. And these really are like treasure troves, you know? I mean, there's
Yes, dude. Oh my
something.
gosh.
I mean, I don't look at my video journals ever, but I think if I did, and especially because, my oldest video journal is maybe like 4 years ago, I have a really hard time watching anything of mine that's I haven't listened to any podcast twice, actually, which I should. That's actually terrible, but I I don't know. I have a weird time perceiving myself in the past. Do you ever have a hard
I know
time with
what you
that?
mean, though. Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, I don't like I don't like my voice. It's not like something like that. Like I don't like saying something that I wouldn't say at this moment because I don't know why that like
Mm.
bothers me so much. I don't mind the voice. I don't mind how I say. I don't mind those things. But it's like I'm like I wouldn't do that exact action now. I hate it.
I feel like there's going to be a moment in your life. I don't know when. I feel like I had mine very recently, where like you're really called to reflect upon the past in a way in which you like haven't been before. Like you're going to be like stopped in your tracks by something and you're going to have to seek the wisdom of the past because there is so much wisdom in the past. And I've really, really been learning that like the last, I don't know, yeah, fucking month or 2 months by looking. Like I never read my past like journal entries either, but I've been just so curious th about this state that I'm in and how I dealt with it last time that going back and like it's so crazy because I'll go back and read one every now and then, but like I'm really reading these with like the intention of like, wow, like I like really care about what I was saying then. Like I've never cared so much ever. And I think what I've come to learn that is the craziest part of it all is how cyclical everything is and how much I think it's terrifying because at the same time you tell yourself like, oh, I don't want to say something I wouldn't say now. But the crazy part is that in a lot of ways we are actually thinking and feeling and doing the exact same things. And I think like it's scary reading my old video or my old I don't watch my video journals that much from the past actually. That almost feels more intimate, which is really weird. But reading them is fine. But watching them is a trip or reading them is a trip because I have to acknowledge the fact that I haven't grown as much as I thought I have. That I'm still dealing with very similar issues. That I had things then that I wanted to
Damn,
do,
that's
that I
what it
wanted to
is,
overcome.
bro.
I haven't grown nearly as much as I'd like to convince myself that I have. And
Yes.
oh my God, like it's so wild. Like I really thought in this particular period of my life, I would be dealing with this issue so much more robustly and like I'd have so much better tools and my thinking of the world would be so much more complex. And like in a way, I am dealing with it a lot better than last time, but it isn't as I haven't grown as much as I thought I would. Like I'm like it's like, damn, I've stepped into the same river and I thought I wouldn't be the same person, but I actually in a lot of ways am the same person. And in some ways that's good because last year was actually so inspired. All the change I had that year actually was inspired by me reading my old journal posts because I had that exact moment where I was like, bro, there's no way I was talking about wanting to quit drinking a year ago, wanting to start my TikTok, wanting to do this, and I still haven't done it. I was like, I'm doing that this year no matter what. But at the same time, yeah, man, it's so cyclical. It's actually kind of terrifying, I would say.
Not changing as much as you'd like to. Damn. Do you remember if the last time we recorded whether you had already ended things or not? 3 months. Do you remember the
Oh,
date in which you ended it?
yeah,
What was the
November
date?
4th.
Yeah, so this is before because I left Osaka November 4th. I went to what was her name? Oh no. Haruka.
Um,
I went to Haruka's house November 4th.
Haruka-chan.
Oh wait,
Oh
no, wait, time out.
no.
No. I went to Haruka's house December 4th. November 4th, I was okay, so this was after it ended.
Oh, this was after, really?
Yeah. This was in November.
Really? I wonder
Yeah.
if I talk about it then. Dude, that was 2 hours. That's actually insane. That's crazy. Um, I wonder when I'll ever watch that. So, but here's the crazy thing as well. I don't even have journal entries from the last time that I was going through a breakup, but I do have two birds podcasts from the last time. Like, we literally have heartbreaks and prom dates here. And I've been
Oh my
wanting to listen to this
God.
one for the longest time, but I just like haven't been able to let myself.
Uh
But
Bro,
like,
when you sent me those pictures, the one you sent of me in DC, I actually looked so young. I looked like a baby. But I also was shaved and I looked different. But
yeah,
that was crazy. But two, it was just like, damn, like I was mentally a lot more of a child back then. I mean, that was before I ever left the country, like alone and started that entire kind of journey. Like, I just, wow. Yeah, compared to that moment, I feel like I don't know if a lot's changed, but I've seen a lot, which I'm
Mhm.
thinking does something along the process, but holy, that was
I think,
so special.
do you ever feel like your growth sometimes too, like it hits like at some point in time, like you do hit like a plateau in the sense of like when you kind of like, let's say, haven't kind of come to consciousness yet or whatever, you haven't realized the things about yourself, you haven't started to do the work, like those first couple years, it's like you make so like quantum leaps in your personality and like the things that happen. But then like after a while, you're kind of like the change between you the year before and after isn't as drastic as it is between like, let's say like 2019 Gotham and like 2021 Gotham or something like that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I like the personality part. I feel like my ideas change, but that's just because of how much like of the world I have consumed in that year. So like those are like compared to before, if you had said something, I'd have nothing to connect it to. So it would just be an abstract thought. But in the span of 1 year, I would have experienced enough to where like at least some of those abstract concepts now have like a more like realistic thought that I can connect to.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like in that way I change. And but yeah, I guess maybe not so much in the terms of like my character or like my what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. But I do think a lot's changed, but it's almost impossible to measure, huh? How do you even
I mean, that's the beauty of the I think the only way we actually can measure it is through the video journals and the podcasts and um the written journals, but like we have a pretty like good way to capture like I mean, dude, I journal and I write at least once or twice a week. The video journals, I'll do those maybe once, at least a month, which is cool. And then we have these as well too, which I'm like, dude, we're gonna have a pretty like again, I don't know what we do with it all, and I don't know, but it's definitely at some point in time in life, I don't know when we're gonna look back on it. And like again, maybe like, I don't know, God forbid any of this happens, but imagine what it would be like to like end up with like a cancer diagnosis or something and look like watch all these again and just look at like your life from this point to then and just be like, wow, like I fucking like I really like had like a life that was like lives. And like I really had these like problems and these struggles and like I had these things that felt so huge. And now, like as I sit here, like, whatever, like whatever moment in time where we will be on our deathbed. God, hopefully we'll have one, hopefully it's
Yeah.
not like immediately, but being able to watch these back would probably be like, I imagine we'll like laugh and cry and just be so like, oh my God, like this kid, man, like he was so worried about X, Y, and Z. I saw this really cool thing that was hella
So
corny.
cute.
But it was hella corny, but I thought it was really cute. So it'd be cool to like, I don't know, kind of do this. Again, it's hella corny, but I saw this thing. It was like, I met my younger self for coffee. She got there late. I got there early. She ordered a caramel frap. I ordered like a black coffee, whatever. Then it was like, oh, this one, she was stressed about being a single mom. This one is like thriving, understanding how much her, impact my life, blah, blah. And I was just thinking about like how crazy it would be. Like this idea of like if you invited your younger self to coffee, let's say Gautam from like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Um, how different do you think the conversation, the relationships, the things you guys did and talked about in that moment would be?
Can I say a memory that comes up to mind that I really want to share?
Please.
10 years. So 10 years ago, I this is my 10-year anniversary of teaching, which is really cool.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So
Dude,
that's like
congrats.
very
10 years is
yeah.
crazy. What the hell? You've been teaching for 10 years?
Yeah.
Bro, that's
So it's
wild. Wow.
coming up on that. So not yet, but
Wow.
in like about 7 months it'll be my 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
And the first reason I wanted to start teaching is because I wanted money to buy weed, which was funny. Like the whole reason how this whole thing started. I started with this one student and he's super ADHD and I'd go to his house 3 times after school and I'd teach him math. And he had this cat that was hella like licking all the time. And I was telling you about that wart that I had on my foot, right? So I would keep my foot out and the cat would lick my wart for
No,
like a cool 10 minutes
that's so
and I would
gross,
just be
bro.
like
That's crazy.
I'd
You're
just
a
be like, all
sick
right.
little puppy, bro.
I was like, all right, time to teach. Out, bro. I'm telling you. Bro. Look, I didn't do it on purpose, but that's how it came out. I mean, the cat would lick my wart, and I would
I
work.
didn't purposely leave my foot there for 10 minutes and let my work get fucking fellatioed, but it happened. Like, damn, that's crazy. That's actually,
I
I
don't
don't
know
even,
why that memories that, but that's what I'm saying. It's so like imprinted in my brain because I was like, this is so nice. I get to teach, get my wart licked, and I get if so. Yeah, that's my first teaching moment. Now you
I'm
know.
scared. Eject, mom, come get these. Gotham's talking about his ward again.
But that's definitely a core memory of mine from 10 years ago. So yeah, I
So
wonder if
like
that
a
got them.
slight change. The ward is gone at least.
Yeah, the war
There's some
is gone
change.
now. The war is gone. I don't know if I'd let a cat lick my toes for that long anymore. Maybe only 5 minutes. 10 minutes seems to be pushing
But a
it.
dog though.
But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
man. I mean, what about you? What were you doing 10 years ago?
Shit, nothing as profound as that. That's crazy. Um, oh, Milan 10 years ago, man. 18. So I just started community college. Man, this might be like the 10-year anniversary of like I would say kind of like the big personality change I went through. I think it happened around 18. Pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was the first year of community college I had. So that was when Demon Boy was born. And that was, yeah, I mean, that actually, like looking back, might be the most important year of my life, which is kind of crazy to say. Um, like, there's just some years and some days where I feel like a completely different path of your life is born that would is so infinitesimally different than the others that like you can't even recognize it. Because like each decision you make obviously takes you on a different path. And maybe, if you take like the law of like if you move 1 degree, you end up somewhere completely different. But there's somewhere it's just like, no, it's so obvious that it's 90 degrees in the opposite direction. Like, and that was one of those for sure. And yeah, I mean, that was the moment I started meditating. That was the moment I started reading Don Miguel Ruiz books and thought he was deep. But the crazy part is like, I feel like my life has been this continuous journey of like taming my ego. And each time I feel like I'm at a phase where like I've got it pretty down, I look back a couple years later and I'm like, damn, I still had so much ego I was like working through and dealing with. Um, and that 18-year-old mind, like, dude, the ego on that motherfucker was crazy, bro. Like it just I feel like I got my life together in some degree, but like that took me from feeling like I wasn't shit to feeling like I was the shit. And it was just this like complete moving in the opposite direction of like being like, because I genuinely before that, like I don't know, I didn't think highly of myself at all. And I just had very low self-esteem, I feel like. And I kind of absorbed a lot of like what the world told me I was, I feel like. But then I moved towards being like, no, fuck you, world. Like I determine what I am. And then I became like a kind of yeah, very arrogant, I feel like kind of person. So um, and then even looking back to a couple years ago, like I feel like I've been able to work through so much. Like each year, I feel like I have some lessons, like some really, really big lesson that I enter where I'm like, wow, like I need like I become a little bit more down to earth. So I don't know. I feel like when I look back at the last 10 years, like if I could say like what would that Mylan be doing at coffee that would be so different than me now is he probably would be talking about how great he is, and I probably would be talking about how great the people in my life are.
Mm. Do you remember what the moment was where, like, you said that kind of transition in your life where you started meditating, you started reading all these books? Like, was there like a moment, or was it like a slow, gradual transition?
Yeah, it was the Demon Boy moment.
Can you explain? For some reason, that's why when you said it, I was like, I don't know if I remember that
Oh, you
reference.
don't remember that? That was it, I'm almost happy that you don't know what that is. Demon Boy was when I got like super blackout drunk and I got like arrested and I like broke into like my friends' houses and like their parents like beat me up and then I like beat up my like manager who like lived in my complex and
Whoa!
like
For some reason, I don't know this. How is it that I'd never heard this?
yes you have, dude.
No, no,
Gotham, yes you have.
no! I
This is like
swear,
my like this is where my canon event begins, dude.
no, no. But I honestly cannot remember. I remember you getting handcuffed at Starbucks. But this one I just don't.
What? There's no way, dude.
I don't
Wow.
remember you telling me. Okay, so continue. I don't
Oh my
think I.
God. Okay, so I had just graduated high school and I didn't really have much direction in my life at that point in time. I joined community college because a couple friends in my life, shout out Brenda and I think Stephanie too at the time, like made me get in community college, and they were like, "You're going to take classes, like you're going to do this, like you can go to college." And I remember I didn't really care, but I've always been kind of lucky enough to have like really people way wiser than me around me, so I just kind of listened and I did it. And I like, dude, I think I got all D's and F's that first semester, and I took hella classes too, which is why I cooked myself. But so I was in that it was around December, I'm pretty sure, December time of that semester. I think maybe the first semester was, I was in the middle of it, and I had like just gone through like a little like heartbreak. It was like my first heartbreak, I think, ever. And I was like not dealing with it well at all. And so I remember that night. I was like, I'm going to drink until like can't anymore. And I remember I felt like in that time, like I was like, I actually didn't know what my upper limit of drinking was. Like I've always kind of been a tank, but I like wanted to test it, like what was it? Because I like even though I got drunk, like I was always able to like keep my like control like better than the people around me. So, anyways, no joke, I took I think 10 double shots of this stuff called E&J. We call it evil juice now, me and my friends. E&J, this like whiskey. And I probably drank a couple beers. I think I got alcohol poisoning because that's the only way that I can explain the psychosis that I entered. Like I entered a state of psychosis, like dead ass. And it's crazy. I remember I left. My friend in Dallas was throwing like a like little party. I think it was like a Christmas party or something like that. And I left their house and I was gone. Like I was beyond gone. And me and my homie Ori were walking back to my apartment. I don't know what I did or what I said to him, but I like think I tried to fight him. And he had a cast on and he hit me with the cast. And I think it knocked me out into the bush. And I literally dropped into the bush and then he dipped. I saw him a few months ago and I brought that up to him. I was like, bro, it's crazy. He actually knocked me out into a bush. And he was like, hey man, I had to do what I had to do. Which is insane. But yeah, so I woke up and maybe that's what gave me the psychosis. I don't know. But I didn't know where I was. And I just remember I was binging. I was binging a show called oh fuck. Oh, D
Demon Slayer?
uh no. It's a CW show. It's called I remember it. Anyways, Supernatural. It's called Supernatural. It's about
Oh, nice.
I was like binging Supernatural and I loved it. But I like probably watched I don't know how many episodes of it that day. So I remember I woke up and I thought I was in the Supernatural universe. And
Oh.
I was like, my friends are like possessed. I need to help them.
Oh
And
no.
so I like went to my friend Brenda's house and they were asleep at this point in time and I started banging on her window and I literally like went to her door. Oh no, her brother came in and was like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Brenda's possessed. I need to save her." And he was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, bro? Go home." And I was like, "No, like you're not gonna stop me. Like I'm gonna save Brenda. Like she's possessed. Like she needs my help." And he was like, "Mylan, stop, dude. Like what are you doing, bro? Go home." We got into it and then he like literally like grabbed me and like took me to like Dallas's house and he was like, bro, Mylan's drunk as fuck. Like, get him. So then I started being like, oh, Dallas is possessed. Like, you guys need to let me help her. And then her whole family was like, yo, like, it was like funny at first. And they were like, yo, stop. And I was like, no, I really need to help her. Like, I was like dead serious. I thought she was possessed. And like her family like started like grabbing me and being like, yo, chill. And even her dad was like, Mylan, like stop. And I was like, no. Like you guys aren't gonna stop me. Like you guys don't understand. Only I know. And like they all like threw me out of the house and like grabbed me and they were like, yo, we need to take Mylan home. And they said it took like they were like, dude, you literally had the strength of like two men. Like I literally like, thought I was like helping people. And so it took like five of them. They dragged me home. They were like fighting me too. Like I was like fighting all them. One of them like choked me out and like almost put me to sleep and then like brought me up. And then they grabbed my mom. I can't believe I'm saying all this on a uh anyways. So they grabbed my mom. My mom came out. My mom starts beating the shit out of me. She's like, "What the fuck?" Like she's just so mad and like because my dad had an alcoholic history, she was having like flashbacks like my dad coming home drunk and she like just I remember I think she like smacked me in my back like super hard and I was like, "Ah." And then she started whatever and then I got in the house with her and then I started grabbing all the like the silver like utensils and I was like, "You guys, we need to get these like the demons are coming like blah blah blah." Like it was dude, looking back to this day, it's so crazy.
But you remember it.
I didn't remember when I woke up, and then slowly some of it came back to me
Whoa.
as I woke up the next day, which is insane too. I also don't know how much of it I'm confabulating, who knows? But um I was like, yeah, like and again, I honestly still wonder, I'm like, dude, did I have a concussion because my homie already clocked my shit? Like I really don't know. Um But so I was like, I started grabbing all the silver utensils. My mom was like laughing at first, and then started getting worried. And I was like yelling in the house. I was like, no, stop! You don't understand. So then my manager like came and like knocked on the door, and he was like, yo, are you okay? And then like my mom was like, yo, he's not good. Like I don't know what's wrong with him. Like he's tripping, blah blah. And I said he was one of the demons. I was like, don't let him in our fucking house. He's a demon. And then like and then I don't know. He like got I don't know, he was like, calm down, Mylan, like blah, blah, like I'll take care of this and blah blah. And like he like tried grabbing me and I was like, yeet, like I just socked the shit out of him. And then I was like, bro, like I was like, you gotta get out of here. He's a demon. My mom started screaming. She's like, oh my God, like blah blah. And I think I don't know, like hit him a couple more times. I don't exactly know what I did, but then I just like booked it like out of the apartments. And then and my mom told me she was like you did not you hurt that like you hurt him like that like the next day like it was bad like he could have you could have been in jail like he easily could have put you in jail no question like the fact that he didn't like you're very lucky. And then I started running down the street and I ran for a while like I think I ran like a mile or something like that and then at some point in time I like ran into like the cops and then I started like fighting with them and running from
Oh.
them. And they like, I remember they like handcuffed me and like threw me in the back of their car and they were like, kind of take me to jail, I remember. But I remember telling them, like, you guys don't understand. Like, I started like venting to them about my life and like how messed up it's been and how like I just like wanted a chance and like blah blah. I don't know what I said, but they were just like, okay, where do you live? Like, we'll take you home. And I was like, I gave them my address and they brought me back. And then the next
Oh,
day,
that's
I
sweet.
literally, it was, dude, it's so crazy looking back, like so crazy looking back.
So many things happened that like people were looking out for you in like weird ways.
And that's honestly like one of the beauties of like when you look back at your life and you try to see like where there's just kind of been so many chances for you to like do good, and that's one of those for sure, right? I easily could have gone to jail, and crazy I didn't. And so, yeah, I like woke up in my bed the next morning. I literally texted my friends. I was like, "Yo, last night was a movie," and they were just like, "Are you okay? Like, what the fuck?" And then, um, I was like, "Yeah, like why?" Like, I literally thought I went home after the thing and went to sleep, and then eventually everything started coming back when they were like, "No, dude, you
Oh
came
my
back to our house."
God.
Brenda, I remember, came over, like told me everything, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then my mom came home. I remember I was like laughing. She like handed me like one of the like, she was like, "Here for protection." She like handed me some like silver thing. She was like, "Protect yourself." And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like that part of it came back because like I didn't remember that like I came home and then like everything pieced together. And last thing I'll say is I remember sitting that day. I like went and I like sat down in my like patio for like hours by myself, and I was like, my life is a fucking mess. Like I have nothing going for me. Like what am I doing? Like this is my life. Like I'm gonna become my dad. Like this is who I am. Like I was at rock bottom. That's my rock bottom for sure. I was like contemplating like whether or not I should still be alive. And I was just like, what am I doing with my life? Like what do I need to do to like change? And then yeah, from that, I think like, over the next couple months, like I started just like I think I started reading, I started meditating, I started doing this, started doing that, and then everything just kind of came from there, which is crazy. So yeah, man, that's the Demon Boy story.
Wow.
You knew that, right? You
No, I
didn't know
did
that?
not know that. I promise, like on unless I somehow have amnesia, I do not know this story. This is the first time I'm
That's
hearing it.
crazy. And so my friends started calling me Demon Boy after that because they were just like, oh, like that's yeah, I thought everyone was
That's
possessed.
so funny.
I never watched that show again. I stopped that day and I
Oh
haven't
my
finished.
God. So did you end up talking to Dallas's family or to the manager or
Yeah, yeah. I ended up going to Dallas's house, I think the day after that or something like that, and they were all laughing. It's just like Mexican
oh
family, like
really?
everything's funny to them, and they were all just laughing. They were like, "Oh, like he's possessed. Like, oh, there's a demon." Like everyone was just
Were
flaming
you
me, dude. I
hella
was like,
embarrassed?
"Oh my God, bro! I've never been more embarrassed in my life, bro. Like genuinely, bro. I've never been more embarrassed in my life, dude. Like I had so many cuts and scratches and bruises on me the next day. Like I was like, my back was in pain. I was just like, what the fuck happened, bro? Like what was that?" Um, yeah, that was again the lowest point of my life. Like everyone was just flaming me. Like, and again, like I didn't like I was already like the like little like thug stoner kid who like didn't do anything with his life, and people were just like, bro, this guy's just cooked. Like, and I just remember like I just felt this feeling around me like n no one felt like I was gonna be anything in life. So pretty crazy to be here now, I would say.
I mean, so many questions. I mean, how did you think that, like, okay, if I meditate, like, where did that option even come from? Like, first of all, okay, so I guess my first question is before all this, where did you think your life would take you?
Um, I don't think I like had a clear idea, but I think I was really worried. I was looking at my dad's life and how he ended up dying early of alcoholism. I was looking at my mom's life and just how like kind of messy it was. We lived in the ghetto part of Orange County, and we lived in the ghettos of LA, and like just nothing had gone good for her. And I was just understanding that I was in the exact same cycle that they were in. Like there was nothing about me that I had done that was not going to guarantee that I either ended up like my mom or my dad. And I started asking myself, I feel like I have no control over my life. And I feel like I don't have any mentors. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to better my life. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm supposed to do to make things right. And so that's when I started reading. I think reading was the first thing I started doing. I just
Mm,
started like I picked up. I think the first book I read that like changed my life was Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It was like the
mm,
first. It was the first operating system I ever downloaded into myself that wasn't toxic. And I didn't have
mm.
that much to go off of, but I had four principles. Don't take anything personal. Be impeccable with your word. Always try your best. And I can never remember the last one. But I had all of those things to go off of. And I started trying to live in that particular way. I was like, okay, like in the don't take anything personal one, I think was the one that changed my life the most. Because I never understood this concept of nothing was personal. So that was like the big one. And then from there, I started watching TED Talks because I was like, I feel like this is what people do. Like,
Wow.
um, and then I watched this TED Talk and it was just this like monk being like, if you meditate 10, he was throwing he was juggling. He was like juggling with like one hand. He's like, if you meditate 10 minutes a day, your entire life can change in one whatever. And I was like, it can. And so I didn't know what it was. And he was like, all you have to do is sit there for yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then this is this. Like, just let your thoughts come and blah, blah, just breathe. I'll never forget that day. I was like, all right, I like turned off the TED Talk and I was like, okay, let me try this. And I like sat there and I just like, I remember, dude, 5 minutes was so fucking long, dude. It was so long. Like, oh my God, it's crazy. And I did 5 minutes for the first like couple months and then I moved on to 10. And then going to doing like 8 hours in one day is insane. But 5 minutes felt so long, but I'll never forget that first day that I meditated. The next morning when I woke up, I felt better than I had any day before. And I was like, I'm going to keep doing this every day. And for I think 3 to 4 years straight, I meditated every single day, did not miss a beat, blackout drunk, wherever I was, I meditated. I woke up so many times, like so drunk, like in that position, but I would, it became a ritual and I did not miss a single day. And then things just kind of naturally started to come from there. There's something about reading about people who are like living great lives and teaching how to live great lives and then sitting with yourself with an awareness every day that so much can just come out of that. And then I started cooking for myself. I started going to the gym. I started like learning about philosophy. Like so many things started kind of like coming just from those decisions. So yeah, that's the birth of the of Dr. Kent.
Dude, that's so it's crazy because I think often when people are like, all right, I want to get my life together, there's often like resources around them that they can look at or look to and then be like, all right, well, you modeled a better life for me. Now let me do it. But it seems like so much of it for you was just like piecing together these like different sources that often weren't people in your life itself, but just like, like a TED Talk. That's so cool.
Yeah, I didn't have any real mentors outside of my brother. I will always give my brother credit where he always pushed me in the right direction and gave me something to look towards. And like, he was someone I really admired that I felt like was living a life that I wanted to live. He read all the time, he like exercised, he watched movies, he did all these things. And so, um, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, I would not study philosophy if it wasn't for him. Like, he's the one that gave me the courage to study philosophy. And so he was really probably the only like figure I had that actually like was an inspiration to me, but like it's not like he told me to start reading or meditating or anything. Like I just kind of picked that up from being like, what do people who want to be better do? And then after that, like it was crazy. Like the next semester, I got all A's, and then I got all A's every semester except for math. I got no, I think I did get A's in math actually. Um, and then I yeah somehow came out like a 3.1 if I added everything up, which was enough to somehow get to UCSD, which is actually very insane. So.
How did you feel when you opened that acceptance letter?
Oh my God, dude. At that
What?
point in time, I had only gotten into Long Beach State, and that was already so crazy for me. That was so insane. I remember where I was when I opened the Long Beach State acceptance letter. I just got out of work and I saw that, and I was so happy because I was like, wow, like I'm going to college. Like this is crazy. And my mom was so happy because it's right there. And that was it. That was settled. And then I went to Coachella, and I remember I got an email, and it was like, create your online student portal, like from UCSD. And I was like, that's fucking weird. Like, what? I didn't even see the acceptance thing. And then that night, I like opened it up and it was like, you've been admitted. I like, oh man, that was, I don't know what was crazier getting into this PhD program or getting into that. But in some ways, I think maybe that because there was no like, there was no sense of myself as like I could be a college student. There was no like reality of that like even kind of could like I could comprehend. So I remember I was at Coachella, me and my sister and everybody was so excited. And then the craziest thing that and I'll just say it again, is that I genuinely did not want to apply to UCSD. And I remember Stephanie was sitting there helping with my college applications. By helping, I mean literally doing them for me. And she was like, "No, you're gonna put UCSD on the list." And I was like, "No, I don't want to go there. Like that's a nerdy ass school. Whatever. I want to go to SDSU." She was like, "No, you're gonna just apply. Like you're already applying anyways. You get X amount of free applications. Like just do it." And I was like, "I don't care. Put it on there if you want." And it's just so life is so crazy, bro. Life is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's so crazy to me that I'm like, look, okay, you can be an atheist, you can not believe in any kind of spiritual plan, or you can believe that this is all randomness and it's just all like, but what a boring interpretation of this craziness that so many little slivers of life, if they didn't happen, your life wouldn't have gone down completely. If Stephanie was not there that day, and if even a second of her mind was like, all right, he doesn't want to go to UCSD, let me respect his wishes, and didn't put it on there, I would have this would not be
Yeah,
happening.
we this wouldn't be happening. Yeah.
This would not be so my life would be completely different. It's so crazy. And I love where my life has taken me, for the most part. So I don't know. I can't help but be grateful for every quote unquote random thing that's happened. So yeah, man, that's life is life is crazy.
And the crazy thing to think about is from all of that, it's only been 10 years. And there's maybe, if you can live a long life, another six of those in front of you, you know?
What is what is one of those situations for you where like it's so insane that this like if this one little thing didn't happen in this particular way, your life would have never looked the way it does now.
It's the way that I've met everyone in my life is so. Can I just shout out some of them? Like, it's just so, they're all
No,
so
not on
serendipitous
the
to
Two
me.
Birds podcast. You can do that shit on Reeducated, but we don't shout people out here, bro. That's crazy.
No, no, no. Like, no, I just, it's like
Shout out Kamiko.
no, not coming. Oh my God. Jeez, that dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. What was even going through my mind, dude? I was so, oh my God. Ah,
That's
Jesus
my
Christ.
favorite. That'll forever be my favorite. Two birds of ours, bro. Heartbreaks and Pond. That's so iconic. What an iconic time in our lives, bro. That was so lit.
Oh my God. Unnecessary. Oh, um, okay. Shouting out other people. I feel like the way I met Yusuf, for example, who was somebody who like I don't know, unlocked a level of being okay with myself that I'd never felt before, is I like pulled up to our like CS class super late last minute, and he was the only one who didn't find a partner. And he was just
Whoa.
like he also woke up. He just like got up super late. He was one of the last people
Oh,
putting up his bag. So I just walked up to him and said, "Yo, you want to be my partner?" And then we started hanging out so much, and he like became like the only reason that I wasn't insanely depressed my junior and senior year. The way I met Dan is because like I was looking for like when I was young, I wanted to be white really badly. I was like, I want to be white. And so I was looking for roommates at UCSD. And Dan had like this picture of his abs. He had just like, he like just finished because he was like a water polo, like national player or whatever. And so he was like just ripped, completely different than who Dan really is. The image made him look like he was someone complete. I thought, frats, like it was about to be that type of
yeah, yeah.
lifestyle. So I like was like, did we have to room together? Boom, boom, boom. We started rooming together. Who he is changed my life completely. But the intention of why we became roommates was 180 degrees the opposite direction, right? I mean, I
So
didn't
crazy.
think Dan would be who Dan was. And then Umar just was our random third roommate. And the only reason he selected single to dorm together was just because he didn't know any of his friends coming. So he did single, me and Dan did double, so we three got together. And those, are some of my closest friends to this day.
Wow.
Umar. And it's just like and then how like the other John became our friend was he was just in our little thingy and then when I think about Ellis, like how I met Ellis was just because even though he was in my program, there was just one day where he said something hella nice to somebody and I like looked at him. I was like, yo, we should hang out. I was like, I was just like, and then because it was like 3 months in and I hadn't really made any friends in DC, and then I became friends with Ellis, and then we started hanging out a ton, and Ellis changed my life. And then I told you about Arden, how we became friends just at uh this Christmas party that I went to that was like super large, but I ended up singing I ended up
I thought
singing
you guys met at a grocery store.
no. No, we went at this Christmas party and I like
Who
sang
did you meet
yeah,
at
I
a grocery
sang
store?
I met Ebenezer at the gym.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
that's another one. Yeah, I had like I was Aang for Halloween, so I had like the arrow on my head that I shaved in, and like he like walked up to me and was like, "Yo, are you Aang? Like, is that like on your head?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we became so good friends. And it just I think more than like it's just the peep how every person has come into my life has been so serendipitous, and I'm like, damn, like how I met you. I mean, how I met you at a party that I
That
met
was
through
crazy.
Vishu, and then like
How
it
did
just
you meet Azita? Wait, are we allowed to say that? Or do I say
yeah, yeah.
wait, no,
No,
I should
no,
call
no,
her
no, no. I don't know.
what
I
is
don't
the
know, bro.
what
I
is the
don't know,
name?
dude.
What is
I
the
swear to God, there's not a single person on this planet I'm more afraid of. I feel like, bro,
Lana
it's
or
just,
no? What was the name you said?
I don't even want to say that name either. That's even
Okay.
more corny.
I'm gonna
Okay,
say AZ.
but
How did you say
but
AZ?
Arizona. I'm at Arizona. Um. Uh.
Stop talking
I mean,
about me on your fucking podcast, Galvin.
bro, it's not gonna get killed, bro. She's gonna somehow fucking find a laser somewhere in the middle of nowhere and shoot me down. I'm terrified. Um, I DM'd her on Twitter, but the only reason is because I had seen
Oh,
she had written something. She like wrote a post about some stuff that had happened in her life, and I like read it, and I was like, she was a really good writer, and so I was like, damn, this
uh,
is lit. So I had like messaged her way before, like, yo, this is dope. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why I'm thought to message her again, but actually I do know. My friend was going to Riverside, Mirage, and he was thinking about going to Riverside, and he wanted to figure out how to do some of the financial aid stuff. So I just like DM'd her. I was like, "Hey, my friend needs a little bit of help." I was because she's always like, "Ah, if anyone's looking for help."
interesting.
And then we started talking through that, which is
Wow.
also crazy, which is also so
Is this connected
crazy.
to Mirage? Like, had you not met him, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Like,
But like
that's
no, but like that, yeah, that. So it's just like yeah, I guess in that sense, like 10 years ago to now, like a lot of life has happened. So much
that's why
life.
I feel like life is just so funny because even that day, right, where you were like, you relate to your classes and stuff like that. Like, the reason you can't say anything in life is good or bad is because you genuinely have zero fucking clue what any event in your life could be leading you to and the person you could be leading you to. Like, even like I think about the day I met Bree, or the second time, I guess, I don't even know. So insane. I mean, for so many reasons, but I remember that day I had a date and the date went shittily. And I remember kind of being like, oh, this was a bad date. Like, damn. Um, and I remember I was like running late for the bus and like there was only gonna be a couple buses left and I was like tweaking. I remember being like, damn, like I'm gonna be late. Like I was like hella anxious about it. And then out of nowhere I see cute ass girl in the line again and I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. Like, and it's just I don't know. It's so like so many things in my life have happened out of situations where I was like, oh, this sucks, or like this is like not good. And I feel like if you're able to carry that more forward, every situation generally becomes like an opportunity to explore and have like the craziest potential. I don't know. It's insane to think about life as like every day could be a day where your life changes forever in like the best way.
Yeah, in
Even though
any
everything
direction,
in any direction, every day you wake up, you're like, oh, it's just another day. Like you really have no fucking clue.
anything could happen. And I think like that. I don't understand why I want to be, I was sitting next to these two people yesterday. So interesting. They were like, one dude was like 19, 20. The other guy was like in his 50s. I think they were in the movie industry. Chennai has a huge, like, this is like the film center for Tamil Nadu.
Oh, okay.
And, and, but they were talking like typical, like, Indian dads, just very loud, wanting the whole room to hear how like special and amazing they are. But they did seem pretty cool. But the younger dude kept talking about like most people, blah blah blah, other people, blah blah blah, and I was just like, damn, I actually hope I really don't want to sound like this. I don't want to, because I was gonna say most people right now, and immediately I thought of him, and I
Ah,
was like, damn, I don't know if I want to really
ah.
be saying like this most people stuff anymore. Like, I want to phrase it differently because when you say most people, what it does is it instinctively says, but not I. That's what it when you say most, when someone says most people, there's
Mm.
incorporated in it, not I. I want to say most people, but also include myself in it.
What do you
You
say
know?
most of us?
Yeah, that's a way better way. Most of us. Yeah,
Mm,
I think most of us is way better. Yeah, than
I
most
like that.
people. Because I was listening to him and I was like, damn, like I, I don't want to ever sound so douchey, which I know I do say most people a lot. So I'm like, I don't want to say this anymore.
Mm,
I think most of us
yeah.
is way better. Um, but I was gonna say like in connection to what we were talking about, which was what were we talking about? I had a brain for
We were talking about
it.
the craziness of every day and how you wake up every
Yes,
day.
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
you were
Like
talking?
I feel like I like really realized this like so for example, I'm a really big person of like celebrating big transitions, but some people just aren't. So for example, when like Shruti was going to UCSD, I really wanted to be like, this is your life is never going to be the same. Like after you step out of this
Mm,
door, your life will never go back to what it was before.
mm,
Let's like actually live in the true death of a version of you, you know, like or like I feel like most people just rub it off. Like, okay, so for example, my my mom's sister's daughter, she's 5 years old, loves my mom. Like loves, loves, loves my mom. Was so sad when my mom was leaving. She was like crying the whole day. She was like, I'm gonna stay up
oh,
until you leave. Like really
oh,
felt sad. Like very like I don't want you to leave. And my mom was just like rubbing it off. She's like, I'm gonna call you on the phone. I'm gonna like blah blah blah. Like always like it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like don't you don't need to be sad. But the thing is like it's not gonna be the same. I mean, on the
yes,
phone,
yes,
it's not the same. We
yes.
have to actually cherish that something is ending. When you come back to India the next time, it will not be the same way it is now. It'll be completely
Right.
different. She's going to be older. You might have gone through some things. It won't be,
Mm,
this particular time is ending. I don't know why
mm,
we don't just cherish those things more. Is it too hard to do so? But then when someone dies, that's when everyone's like, "Oh, I wish I could have done more. I could." Like you got to do more now. And like to do more
mm,
now is cherish all the mini deaths that happened before the big one. You know, like the millions and
mm,
millions of mini deaths that happened before the big one is the only way you can actually like cherish somebody before the big one. Like, and I just don't
damn,
understand why we don't do that enough.
damn. That's fucking a bar. That's a super bar. Damn. Maybe, maybe the reason people respond so um intensely when people do die is because they didn't celebrate or acknowledge any of the many deaths that happen along the way. And that maybe that's why people feel so sad. Maybe if you do somehow acknowledge all the many deaths along the way, when the person does die, it's just another mini
Yeah,
death.
exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like, and I
Damn.
always think that I'm like, we have to really acknowledge these mini deaths. Like, to me, that's what a wedding is. A wedding is the acknowledgement of
Mm.
a mini death.
Mm.
Like,
Damn.
graduation is the acknowledgement of another mini death. Moving, housewarming, all these things are
Mm.
acknowledgements of mini deaths. They're not even like, that's why it's not just
Mm.
all celebrations. It's also grief. It's also loss. It is the ending of something onto the coming of the next. And I
And
think,
it's the
like,
birth of something else, always.
yes.
Damn, that's a fucking bar. Oh shit. Gotham in his fucking allergy response bag right now, bro. The allergic brain is going fucking crazy, dude. Damn, that's a bar. That's such a bar.
Because like I mean like for
Hell.
example when you left to Kansas right like that moment you'll never be who you were before Kansas ever. I mean it's impossible. And that particular journey and like your road trip as you left is like the
Mm.
transition period into your new life. And like that entire thing needs to be like pedestalized, at least for yourself and for everyone else who like cares deeply, deeply about you. You know, like that process of like this. But to accept that, they have to accept that the version that they knew of you is dying. There's like so much that needs to happen for someone to have the space within themselves to give you the opportunity to experience that transition.
But how do you think we do that? Because I had a really interesting therapy session today, and I think it's actually in its content, it's different, but in its structure, it's actually the exact same fucking thing.
Hmm.
And I was telling you a little bit about that, right? I think I read you that poem I wrote the other day about Lawrence.
Yes.
Uh, and the last line I said something along the lines of like, why do I only find clarity in absence? Um, and it's this kind of whole theme of like why is it only when something is gone you can see it so clearly and you can actually feel it? And so I was talking with my therapist today about um, the breakup, and I was asking them, how is it possible that I could a couple months ago feel so certain about this, feel so like resolute. And even like, the conversation you and I were having last night, we were like, bro, I wish you could talk to Mylan from like a couple months ago. Because I'm like, I wish I could. Like it'd be so fascinating. Um, Similarly, I wish I could talk to Mylan before I left. And so on and so forth, these different versions of ourselves before transitions. Because then and so I was asking, I was like, how is this possible? Like, how do I make sense of these two things? And it was just very something that he said I thought was like so powerful, which he said that oftentimes when we have like really big transitions coming up, some people intellectualize the experience as a defense mechanism against the pain of what's happening. And so change just becomes this like intellectual exercise. And you're just kind of like, oh yeah, this is crazy. Like I'm no longer going to be here. Like you can see it, you can feel it, you can like change in your mind and your imagination it's happening. But it's not until the thing actually happens that some people actually get to experience the emotion of what it's like to experience the change. And it's not the cognitive exercise or the intellectual exercise that's actually going to like do something to move you when a change happens, it's the emotion of it. But for some reason, it's not until the thing is already changed that we can experience the emotion of losing that thing. And that's often the times when it's too late. And so, like, how is it that one can understand a transition is coming up and actually feel the emotion of the transition, of the pain of it before? Because there are some people who like they will like cry weeks before a change is coming because they can already feel the change. But like someone like me, I can't do that. Like I don't even when I was leaving San Diego, dude, I did not process it at all. And I remember I was reading a journal entry before I left, and I was like, I have a feeling I'm gonna look back on this in a year and be like, damn, I can't believe I was this nonchalant about this. And yeah, I don't know how to feel and appreciate something in its wholeness before the transition happens. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think how the first time I traveled when I went to Europe, something I was doing is I was getting the signature of everybody I met. I have like pages and pages of signatures, like everyone I would eat dinner with. I was like so intent on, and the reason I did that was because one, I got everyone's phone number. I added everyone on WhatsApp. I think I was on Instagram at that point. So, was I? No, I don't think so. So, but I would get everyone's email or something to be like, I'm going to stay in touch with you forever. And I also got everyone's signature because I was really excited to come back and show it to everyone. I was like, look, I met all these people, blah, blah, blah. I come back and two things happen. One, I realized I don't even remember everyone I met. I remember their faces and things, but I no longer can like recollect everyone's name and memory and then like actually go email them. And two, I actually didn't really care to show anybody like all the signatures and stuff. I didn't really feel it in me to like objectify my like experience. And so I realized I was like, what was the point of the whole thing? Like there was no point. And so it's really cute. Now I feel like I can really identify when someone is a more novice traveler. Like for example, right before I left Osaka, I was staying with this like this traveler. He like came to Japan for like a week from
I
China.
have to do something we've never done before.
What?
Can I take a pause?
Yeah, pause.
Okay.
We're jumping.
Turn the
Recording in
TV off. Turn the
progress.
TV off. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. Turn your stomach off. Turn your stomach off.
I'm tired. I got hit by a big dose of just like tiredness. I'm just
Mm.
exhausted. I feel like I've been exhausted these last few weeks. Just been so like
You're tired, bro.
oh, I remember what I was saying now. Getting all those signatures and stuff, Polaroids from
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there was this guy from China that I met when I was the last day I was in Osaka. And it was really cute because, right when I was about to leave, he was like, let me get your number. Let me, like, it's this. I think people who start traveling new, there's this belief that like anything you've experienced, you can always go back to. But I think
Mm,
like the more and more you do it, you realize like every time you leave a space, it will never be, it's impossible.
mm.
I had that happen. So last year I had a very like spiritual week when I went to this one mountain town called Uti. And that actually ended up changing my entire trip in India, because of the people I met and things like that. And so I went again this year thinking, I want to like reminisce back on those times.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
not the same at all.
Oh
It
wow.
felt completely different. I mean, and it just
Mm,
was a reminder again that every experience that we have really is only for once. It
mm,
never, when I went to Devakote and I spent time with my grandpa, this time was not like last year at all, completely different. And this time was beautiful, but next time will not be like this time. And it just, I think the more mini deaths you just start seeing, you start to notice it in every day. You start to notice, it's the periods in
mm,
which you notice a mini deaths get smaller and smaller. And so it doesn't take 10 years, it doesn't take 5 years. It starts, it takes a few days or it takes a few hours, at some point
mm.
maybe. And so I think that is kind of the beauty of, I guess, like appreciating everything really does only happen once.
And maybe like the true power of that is it allows you to not only be more grateful in the moment, but simultaneously it allows you to not be as emotionally stirred up by any given situation or moment or time or place. And it allows you to not put too much emphasis on the one, but like gives you a better understanding of like how to average experiences out.
Yes.
Um, because I have this huge tendency, dude, where and I think it has something to do with my memory. I don't know what it is, but like if something isn't good once, I'm like, ah, this thing just sucks now. Like it's not good anymore. Like, damn, like this is cooked. Like if like we have one like, two birds that like doesn't hit, I'm like, ah, fuck, like two birds is cooked. Like I don't even know why we do this anymore. Like, damn, like fuck, like I was in a weird, I'll like get such make such a big deal about it. And then next time we'll be like, that was the best two birds ever. What the heck? Like, I can't believe that hit so much. Or like, even with friends, like if I have a one bad conversation with a friend, sometimes I really can be like, damn, are me and this person like just not connected anymore? Like, are we just not locked in like that anymore? Like, damn, like what's happening? Like, happens with my therapist. Like, I had a bad therapy session my last session. I was like, I think I need to switch therapists, dude. Like, this guy's just not hitting. And then today was so good, and I was like, why am I like this? Like, it's so interesting that maybe it's more of like needing to like practice that mini death mentality where you can understand that like it's not going to be like the last time. And like you just said, I like the second part of what you said, and it's going to be different. It's going to be something that offers a new experience. And some of those experiences are going to be more joyful, they're going to be more pleasurable, they're going to be more lively, they're going to be more connected. And some of those experiences are going to be lower resonance. They're going to be, maybe less energy, maybe less connected, whatever. But each time you can pull something new, and you don't have to feel like this time means something that's going to expand to every other time. It can just be something in that given moment. You can sit with that. It's very interesting. Hmm. Damn. I feel like these two birds are so interesting because on one end it's like conversational, but then on the other end it's like autobiographical. And so like I wanted to take time for us to like I don't know, kind of give just like a couple minute like explanation of kind of where we're at in life and like what's happening so we can just like when we look back we'll be like, oh, this is what was going on at that given time.
Yeah. You want to go first?
No, you start, please.
Cool. So, Mirage actually just texted me my magazine got delivered. And
Oh, he bought
so
one?
that was yeah. So like a few, yeah, so
Hey.
like Akash bought one, he bought one, like a few people bought one, and
Oh, I'm
it's
behind,
just
bro. I'm lagging. Damn, I gotta order one right
it's
now.
okay,
They're
it's okay.
fucking, they're beating me, bro. That's crazy. Oh fuck. All right, I see.
But
Fucking Rod. That's crazy.
it was just, I don't know, it's just cool to have like my creation like physically at people's homes. It's like
That's
just
crazy.
so it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like my like creation and everything I put into it. is like physically at many different people's homes, like many.
That's beautiful.
That's
And someone's gonna
so
open it and be like, "What is this?" And like they'll be able to like be like, "Oh, it's my homie like Gautam's." Like, yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
so cool. And it's my first, it's the first thing I've ever made physically, and the first thing I've
Mm,
ever, is now out there. This year, I'm excited to start. I want to design a few shirts, blah blah blah. But in relation to like where I've been, I think now at this point, my family is pretty on board with everything that I'm doing. And so, like, whether they agree with it or not, they know that this is a decision I've taken. So it's about to be a year, it's about to be 14 months of doing this re-educated thing full time, which is,
wow, 14 months, dude. That's so crazy.
yeah, it's, you know, I now have 8, 9 students with a lot of like of opportunities for, for it to expand. The website's
Eight or
fully
nine
out.
students?
Yeah. Um,
Whoa.
the podcast is I have like just recently developed like a scheduling system on the website, so now guests can like fully schedule on their own, so I don't have to like
Oh, that's
go back
sick.
and
That's sick.
forth the time. Like, you know, Harish, yeah, it's just so many different things has been like coming into place because of all the effort that we've kind of poured into it over the years. And on one end, I'm so excited and I have so much like just excitement for all the projects that we're working on. I wrote some of these last 2 days. I've been coding like a lunatic, and I came up with some. So I like forgot I had that in my bag. I'm like, damn, I'm actually pretty good at this. Like I don't think I'm an average coder. I actually think I'm quite good at it. And so it was nice to just like feel that again and be like, damn, I kind
Mm,
of got this in the bag. Um, and all of that being true, I also feel so empty, like not in the
mm.
sense of like I feel the roller coaster of emotions on a day-to-day basis, but I don't know. I just don't know what the point of all this is. We keep coming back to this. I mean, there's no real answer to it, but all there is the experience of the adventure. Someone on the podcast said this quote, and I really liked it. He was like, maybe life isn't a problem to be solved, but a question to be experienced. And I really, really like that. Where it's like
I knew
maybe
you were gonna
like
say that
I'm,
quote.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. That's
because
the funny thing is we've discussed that quote so many times.
yeah, I just really like it though. And I feel like um this last season has also been very existential, so it's been like intense to have these conversations because the season's basically asking why is it important to continue humanity forward?
Oh
And
shoot.
and so we've been talking to a lot of religious, theologians and stuff. It's been really cool, but no one really has the answer. And no one's really,
Mm.
no one really has anything. They're just like,
And
yeah, I
even
don't
people
know.
spending their whole life studying it.
Yeah. No one really has an answer to that question. It's so empty. I think no, there is no real answer to it.
Mm.
Um, and so it just makes it clear like all this is an experience to just be felt, and then you just go.
Mm.
And so the question then becomes is how do I feel what is being
Mm.
provided to me? And the only way to do that is you're right to meditate. To I mean, there's nothing more you need to do than to become like more in touch with your emotions so that you can actually experience all that it is that's happening around you. And to do that, you have to let go of all the fear. Like not the fear, but you have to let go of like the fear of fear. Like you have to experience fear just as it is. Like right now, I'm not feeling well. And I'm not just experiencing that I'm not feeling well. I'm experiencing the fear of me being like, okay, if I'm not feeling well, I'm weak, I'm useless, I'm all these other things. But I need to just
Mm.
experience the fact that I'm not feeling all that great right now. That's it. That's the experience, and that's where it ends. All that extra stuff is just like your mental kind of overthinking over these small things. Like
Mm.
all I have in this moment is my throat feels really scratchy. My nose is hella clogged up. I haven't felt like my stomach's been like settled for a long time, and I like don't feel physically like there. But that's okay. I don't know. Like it doesn't. I want it to change, and then it's going to naturally change. Give it a week, and then I'm going to then move on to the next problem. So at this current
Mm.
moment, this is the problem I'm facing, and I just have to like accept that for what it is, and just experience that the pain and whatever comes from that feeling, and then when it transitions into the next thing, I'll experience that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like life has gotten a bit more simple, but I don't really know where to go from here. You keep like
Mm.
removing stuff, removing stuff. You have less stuff, and you have like, and then I'm like, okay, now what? Like, I feel like I've removed so many things. Like, what else is there for me to remove? Like I try
Mm.
I'm so minimal with already with the things that I own. Like uh, yeah. I've like gotten rid of so much of the stress that I normally walk around with, carry with. Like I'm not really all that stressed on a day-to-day basis. So I'm just like, okay, well now the thing that I don't have really is community. I don't have like a lot of people around me, but while I'm saying that, I'm staying at my family's house. I spent so much time with my parents. Like I don't know, I do also have so many people around me. Akash is like, please come over, stay at my house for some time. Like
Oh.
I do have some, I do. You always tell like I have so many people, so it's not even like I don't. So I don't know. I don't know where life goes from here,
Mm.
but it goes somewhere. So that's why, like, I don't know, having your goals be something that's like, I want to have more students. Like, I don't really give a fuck. I personally don't really care. Like, whether I have
Yeah,
five
yeah.
students or 5 million, it would not change my internal experience at all.
Mm.
Like I don't at
Mm.
this current point in my life, I don't really have the need for so much more money than I have right now. Like I don't even know what I would do with it. I'll just throw it into an investment fund and then what? Like I don't really have the goal of buying a house. I don't really have the goal of buying a nice expensive car. Like I don't have any. So I'm like, okay, if I teach my 8, 10 students and I feel joy in that and I just don't know what am I supposed to do next? Like I'm
Mm.
content with where I am now. Like do I need
Mm.
more? But you're not supposed to be content, especially when you're 27. That means you're a loser, you know?
That, yes, yes, no, fucking for sure. And it's funny because you're literally in that moment the opposite of a loser, but it's like this constant dialogue between reality and the game. And like somehow you're trying to thread the needle between both. The game is how within society can we continue to like push capitalism and push facades and push this like whole system that we are completely bought into where you have to want prestige, money, the like, the family, um, and it all has to appear and look a certain type of way, or else you are not living a good life, despite the fact that most of us are on antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications and overweight and have some chronic health condition or something that is just it's a polished image that's actually like, rotten underneath. But as long as the image looks polished, then it's good. And that's just all you have to continue. And for some reason, we all know it's like rotten underneath, and for some reason, we all continue to put the image up despite knowing that. And it's a balance between that and then just reality, which is that like if you actually want to be happy, it's probably going to be going in the different direction than appearing to look a certain type of way. And I don't know how you balance that because I think being truly content means that you have to be willing to sacrifice looking like a loser to everyone around you. Um, and everyone's like, "Oh, Gautam, like, what did he do with his life? Like, he just traveled and like taught students. Like, cool. Like, he doesn't have the fucking Porsche, and like, he ain't got the baddie next to him, and he doesn't work at freaking whatever open AI. Like, that's crazy. Um, and I just yeah, I don't know. It takes a lot of courage, I guess, to be happy, really. And like find some like meaning that feels like right to you and like not play the game because in one sense you're like maybe this feels empty and maybe this doesn't feel like super um like it has a clear sense of where it's going, but like I'm sure you would feel 1,000 times more empty if you were turning up every weekend and hooking up with random girls and like going to a 9 to 5 that you hated and like, oh my God, bro, I can't wait for Saturday, bro. We're gonna go out and turn out, dude. And then like going in with a hangover and just like I've been in that cycle. I've been in that cycle so many times, and there is nothing more empty than that. Like there's genuinely nothing more empty. And it's just that until you like die. And I don't know. Either way, you end up as dust that gets recycled into the air. But I just feel like the journey to getting there can be really different. And I don't know. Maybe there is a point in time where like you can live a life where you experience the mini deaths and you feel the gratitude and you feel the presence and You feel like you have moments that genuinely feel so fulfilling that I don't know, when you do get older, it seems to me like all of this is a practice of learning how to figure out how to let it go. And I don't think
Mm,
the path to letting it go is through ignoring it because that's
yes.
what it feels like so many people are doing. Like you're ignoring the fact that you're alive as best you can. And you're somehow caught in the system. And it's just, but I have the same struggle that I feel like you're kind of like voicing, which is that like, I remember we had this conversation a long time ago where we were talking about like our need to be great. And I remember you were saying like, I feel like I'm almost ready to give that up. But like, I'm scared of like what's on the other side because like it is a life of like simplicity. And I feel like I'm finally getting there as well too. Where like I feel like I've been chasing this like greatness fucking illusion for so long. And I've never even had like a definition of it. I've never even like, and like I do have my definition of greatness, which is like inspiring the people around me that isn't based on like image, like inspiring the people around me, giving the things I do my all, like, whatever, mastering something. But really like in a lot of ways, it's just like prestige, like looking like, having the people around you be like, oh my God, he's that guy. And um I was
Good
having a
accent.
conversation with huh?
Good accent.
I was having a conversation with my mentor, and he was talking about one of the guys who's like one of the heads in the program. And now like, he I wouldn't say like he's very like, thought of as like too highly in our program. Like, he's just kind of like the old, older kind of guy who people are waiting on to retire. But he was telling me, he was like, 20 years ago, he was like that dude. Like he was an all-star in psychology. Like genuinely. Like he was like, you think of an all-star in NBA, like there was not a college you could go to where you would say his name and they didn't know who he was. They were like, he was like, yeah, his like, he had pretty much everything. He had the girl, that everyone was like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. He had the career, he had this, he had that. And I look at him now and he's just like an old man. And I'm like, even if you get that, even if you get this greatness, you don't get it forever. Like you get a little period of time where like people look at you and they're like, oh my God, he's that guy. And then eventually you just become the old guy that like people are like, ah, he's there. And then something else happens. And it's just like, no matter, even if you are chasing it, like it's still a fleeting thing. Maybe you get it for a little bit. Maybe you have a little period of your life where everyone's like, oh my God, he's that dude. But it never stays. You're chasing something that you're always going to have to let go no matter what. And then
Mm,
then what? Does your life just become about chasing that high again? Like is trying to be greatness just a form of chasing the ultimate like high, which is
mm.
like being viewed as the people around you as like being valued. Maybe that's the ultimate high there is. And maybe the ultimate like happiness is actually letting go of that high and like not chasing it.
Dude, I'm feeling like I just want to meditate now. I feel like that's so fire. Like, I mean, that's all I want to do. All I want to do now is just like sit and like actually think about how I'm feeling. But I'm feeling that
Mm,
in this moment. I'm really scared. I know when I turn this off, I've been so addicted to my phone and like just like
mm,
being on the internet recently. Like, I'm always working, I'm always teaching. I am on some device almost 24 hours nowadays. Like almost 12 hours, 10 hours a day. Like, there is very few where I'm like tapped out of
mm,
technology. And so something I really want to start doing again, but I think I want to start meditating. I need to like, really sit and do that well. But I don't know. Yeah, I have this like super long list of like all these like things that we have like, and this is only like half, like one third of it, but there's like so many like these are like all the long-term projects. So like even
oh,
when I'm so even when I'm like not doing anything in like let's say I have nothing to do today, I have so many things that I still need to like build.
mm,
So like Patreon and this and that. And there's just so many things that are like, it's pretty cool. It's like really fun. Like I actually have endless work. It's like infinite.
mm,
Like my work
mm,
never ends. So it's like
mm,
anytime I want to tap into let's be productive, there is always infinite amount of things for me to do. And so it's kind
mm.
of it's very beautiful in that way. So work to me is not like a I'm done after 8 hours or 6 hours, I'm done for today. It's
Yeah, yeah.
an infinite thing that is never ending and
Mm,
anytime I want to tap into it, I can tap into it and there's stuff for me to do. When I want to tap
mm,
out, then I can put a pause on it. Which I really like that kind of like ever flow of work, just like
mm,
existing. And I don't need to do it. None of it needs to be done. I mean, if none of it gets done, it's also the world would move on exactly as it's moving on now. But if I wanted to
mm,
move on slightly differently, then I tap
mm, mm,
I don't know.
mm,
So it's interesting. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think I'm happy with the way my life is. I think when I'm 80, when I look back at these years, I'm gonna be very like, wow, that was cool, you know. But I
Mm.
think right now I am feeling very. I'm searching deeply for something. I don't know what I'm searching for. I'm searching for. I think also companionship would be nice. I think I'm getting to the point
Mm.
where I'm like, damn, I think companionship would be cool to have at this point in my life. Like I'm getting
What
there.
do you what do you think it is in companionship that you're craving?
I really want coexistence. That's it.
Mm.
I just want to exist around people. I actually want
Mm.
nothing. I don't actually want to, I keep thinking about Siddhartha in that book, Herman Hesse.
Dude, I was just thinking about that when you were talking about yeah, sorry, go ahead. I was just thinking about
Their like deepest form of love is when they're working on the river together. They don't
mm,
speak, but they like exist together. They like will make food and they'll like take care of the stuff and they'll like, you know, do their boat rides back and forth, but they like coexist. I really, really want to coexist with people. We don't need to talk at all, actually. I don't even mind if there's no word said, but I want to like feel and care. I want to also care about someone and I want to feel cared about. And this could be with a friend. I would love to live with Mirage. Like I keep telling him, like, bro, trust me. Like we don't even need to really spend all that much time together, but we should like live together. Because I feel like I miss caring like deeply
mm,
about people. I don't even care so much about being cared about. That's like also nice, but I feel like I miss like when I spend time with my cousin here, it's so fun like loving. You know, like the act
mm.
of loving itself is so much nice. Like being loved is cool, but I really do like love being too. So
Loving
yeah.
is very beautiful. Yes, for sure.
So I miss that aspect of it. So yeah, I think I would like to coexist with someone, like create together, like co-creation, like watch someone else in their craft. Like I want to watch an artist paint. I want to watch, you know, somebody who's just
Mm,
like good in the kitchen. Just like I want to see them at their, I don't know. I want to see people at when they feel like they're touched with life, right?
mm.
That's why, but that's why it's hard to find people like that. Most of us, I don't know, just we kind of just navigate just a little, I don't know, soulless. Like I don't. That's why I'm like, damn, like that's tough to be around too. You know, someone who's just cranky. They're like, fuck, work sucks today. Like I fucking hate my boss. Like
Oh,
it's like,
I
dude,
couldn't do it, bro.
that's
No way.
that's also exhausting. You know?
Yeah, no way, no way, no way. If someone doesn't fuck with life, I like that's actually such a weird, I feel like thing that I would not think about that like I feel like I is like a requirement for like my partner. But like I don't think I could be with someone who like doesn't fuck with life. Like it's just like clearly doesn't enjoy it and it's just like ugh, like I can't wait to if anybody's like I can't wait to get through X, I'm just like, damn, like
Yeah. But
cool.
like the number of people who are like, I can't wait to get through the week or weekend or I don't know. I don't know where to find these people who show up every day and they're like, let's go. I love life or I love people. Like, so it's a
Or at least
small,
don't hate it.
yeah.
At bare minimum. The bare minimum requirement doesn't hate it. That'd be nice.
All right. What about you now? Your turn.
I was gonna say it's hella funny because I saw this this woman talking about how she met her partner. It's like this uh famous like do you know who Alex Hormozy is? He's like this like business entrepreneur type dude. He's like super jacked. Anyways,
Mm.
his wife was talking about how they met. And I like thought I was like this is the most Galton thing I've ever heard in my life. And they like met on Bumble and he like hit her up and was um like they had like a chill first date. They like went and got like froyo or whatever, and he was just like, "This is super low, whatever." And then the next day he was like, "Yo, do you want to come to my house and work with me?" And then they like worked together for like 5 or 6 hours. And then he was like, "Do you want to come over again and work with me?" She's like, "We didn't do anything, like nothing happened." And she was like, "We worked together like every other day for like a month." And then like I was just like, "Oh, I think I want to keep doing this with him long term." She's like, and that's how they like became partners. Every day he was just like, "Yo, do you
The,
want to come work with me?" And then now he was like, "That's just what we do together romantically." I was like, "That's
the
the most Gallican thing I've ever heard in my life." Oh my God. Do you want to
I would
come work with
love
me? It's so
that.
Gallican.
I would love that. That actually sounds
But
so
they're out
amazing.
there. Like they're literally out there.
Yeah.
Like and his wife's like, yeah, it seems honestly very cool. It's like there are women out there who are so down for that. It's wild.
You want to work with me at a cafe? Seems that's my love language, bro. You want to hop into a cafe and work together? Like, yes, please.
And let's rub work.
Oh yeah, if someone could be a remote worker and just travel the world with me as we work from all these different places. Like that sounds good.
Dude, if
But
you
you
find
know,
that,
that sounds lit. But I that also has its challenges, you know. And I know when that moment comes, then I'm gonna be complaining about something else. So that is life.
That's the wisdom. That's the freaking wisdom right there, dude. There's no free rides. There's no yeah, there's no situation you're ever gonna get where there's not like a handful of like, damn, this also it's so funny. I was talking with another one of my supervisors, and he was talking about his wife who's a doctor. And I was like, dude, you're so lucky that you have a wife that's a doctor. Like, I would love that. And he was like, oh, yeah. He was like, I guess I don't think about it like too much as like a huge positive. And I was like, what? That's crazy. Like I was like, I would ask her all these questions and this is this. And like he wasn't saying it's a negative, but he was just like, oh, like it also has its like things it comes with that like you just like wouldn't think about that like are kind of just like downsides as well too. And even in that moment, I was just so reminded, I'm like, dude, there really is no like grass is greener. Like there's genuinely just like, do you want these problems or do you want these problems? Like you're
Yes.
not there's no problems. There's just like what problems do you prefer? And like the more you can move through life being like, I'm not trying to move from the like I'm not trying to move from one peak of highest pleasure to another peak of highest pleasure, but I'm trying to move from what problems am I more willing to engage with than others. I think that's a better
Mm,
measure of like how do I move from things. And then it's a
mm.
lot more realistic too.
It's kind of cool we
So
get to be so young and talk like this.
it is
I,
pretty cool. We're not even 30 yet, dude.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we're really young. We're very, very young in this life game, and to be able to have these conversations and have someone talk to you about it like you're not crazy is cool.
Very beautiful.
We're very young. All right, so tell me about you. You've had a busy 3 months, huh? So when we
Um,
talked last before 3 months ago, that's when you hadn't left to San Diego yet.
yeah, so I hadn't left to San Diego yet. I almost wish I like I really do need to start like doing a little like homework and like watching these before I leave because it would be really nice to know where I was at the last time we did it. I'm trying to look. I'm like I have a hat on. Like I got like okay, so my I didn't have my braids in yet. It was before last time I got braids. Like okay, but yeah, it was probably like October. I imagine. I think was the last time we recorded it. Um, and at that point in time, trying to think what happened at that point in time. I was probably what finishing up my first semester or second semester. Yeah, and honestly, like yeah, just I at that point in time, I feel like I was so stressed out. I was just really stressed out, dealing with kind of everything that I was trying to uphold in that moment. And I think that something that's been very like clear for me is that the last year and a half of my life has been like extremely difficult. Like it's been a lot of things, but the thing I think it has been more than anything is challenging. And a lot of that has been like challenge I put onto myself. I mean, I guess all of this has actually been challenge I put onto myself. Like really, I've asked for all of this. Like every single thing I'm going through, I've asked for. Um, well, some of it, I guess. It's like it's already challenging in itself, and then more challenges like come out of it. But when I think back to since I've got to Kansas in August, I just like I really haven't had like one easy month. Like every month has brought on some new challenge, and some new thing that has just made life always just like hard. And so I feel like being in Kansas, like I have developed such a capacity for like sitting in like difficulty that like I've kind of normalized it. And I've normalized like suffering. Like I've normalized being in pain. I've normalized like gritting my teeth and being like, oh, like through things. And I pretty much just continue to make my life like harder from this point, from those points in time. And so I'm in this really interesting period in my life where I'm like cracking the armor open, um, in the midst of like war. Like it's like I'm in the middle of the war. There's bombs going off around me. You know, I guess probably wouldn't be bombs with armor. There's soldiers running around. There's swords. There's arrows flying. And instead of like throwing on another layer of armor, I'm saying like I forgot I forgot why I was wearing this armor because I genuinely like I haven't let anything like come through in so long. Like I haven't let an arrow hit me in so long that I don't even remember why I'm wearing this armor. And so like sometimes like I don't know, like it actually makes a lot of sense to break it down so you can remember like why it's there and what you're even doing in the first place. And so my I would say I've been in this period of like moving from where I was a couple months ago mentally, which I think was like I was very much on this kind of space of like growth. I was very focused on growth. And growth to me was very um like kind of one track in terms of like I do the PhD. I kind of, make the money in this way. I get the kind of career in this way. My TikTok pops off. I kind of continue to develop my writing, and I continue to develop this, and I kind of whatever. And I become this person that like I view as like great. And so it was this like really kind of hyper focus on like running towards greatness. And I think last year, like I probably did it better than at any point in time in my life in a while. So I got so hyped up because it was like the first time where I was accomplishing goals that I was setting like a madman. And with that, I think kind of came a certain mentality of really wanting to separate myself from mindsets and people that I didn't think would push me further into that version of greatness. And so um, I think I kind of did a lot of like mental and like social like snipping of fat. And um that I felt like wouldn't serve me in that time and like didn't sort of like make sense for me in my life. And it was sort of like a time where I was like, last year was my year of sacrifice. If I could say anything, I sacrificed more last year than I think I ever have my entire life. Um, I gave up so many comforts and so many things that I thought were like right. And so um it was really crazy when I got to San Diego because I got so humbled in a way that I just like haven't been before in a really long time. But again, it's so cyclical, dude. I found a journal entry where I was writing about the exact same things that I wrote about in San Diego, and it happened like a year ago. And I've constantly struggled with this battle of getting in this mindset where like I'm pursuing my goals and I'm pursuing my highest potential and I'm pursuing this highest version of myself that I believe. But when I do that, I actually become very disconnected from the people I love, like super disconnected from the people I love. Um, and then I become like arrogant, like I really do, in this way of like, oh, like I don't want to surround myself with you guys anymore. I don't want to surround myself with these ways of thinking. And then something humbles me and I feel so brought down to earth. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe I was up there thinking that way. And so it happened again in San Diego where like I went there and, I had so many situations like talking to someone where they pretty much told me that they feel like I have an obsession with needing things to be the best, whether it's people, whether it's myself, whether it's outcomes. And I don't know how to just love something for what it is. And that was so eye-opening. It was like everything I do has to be optimized. Everything I do has to be optimal. I don't know how to actually just love something in its rawness, in its realness, in its brokenness, and appreciate it in that given time. And that kind of struck me because I realized that like similar with my art and the things I do, and I think maybe why my poetry has been so like static is like if a poem isn't perfect, if it's not optimal, if it's not the best, if a writing piece isn't the best, if something my TikTok isn't quote unquote the best, I don't appreciate it. But it's actually oftentimes like when you allow something to just be more real and authentic and raw, that it actually like is better. There's like some genuine beauty in just letting something not be perfect, and loving imperfection in that. And so that happened. And then I had so many moments with like my friends there where like my definition of love expanded. And I feel like I actually have more capacity in my heart to love than I did going into San Diego, which is so crazy. But it required me to crack my heart open in a way in which I hadn't. And so I feel like a lot of my friends in San Diego, I genuinely began to like not appreciate. And this includes like even my friends from OC, like Juan, Gonzo, Tauntaun, like all of them. I began to feel like these people are cool, but they're like my back home friends. They don't understand this mission I'm on and this journey I'm on, and they're not on it with me. Like I'm on my own right out here. Like I can only be with like dogs who are down to move across the country with people who are like down to like be the best and like pursue their greatness. Like if you're not on this, like I'm not on it with you. Like we're not on the same wave. We don't share the same values. Um, and it is like a form of arrogance and disconnection that I feel like I don't know. I get into these modes sometimes. And so I had so many moments in San Diego, dude, that just cracked me open. From like, Gonzo sitting there and telling me, telling Alanis like this is my best friend and he always will be. And me being like, oh shit, like damn. To like, people like John like pulling up on me every day and like, taking care of me and making sure I'm good and this and that. That I just like to Kayla and like, I had a day where like I kicked out Kayla and I was like, actually don't think I can kick it with her anymore, bro. Like I don't know. Like Kayla's like I was like she's just I feel like she's kind of negative and like this. She'll probably listen to this honestly, but I did Kayla. I'm be real. Um, and now I'm like, dude, Kayla's one of the most incredible human beings. She has been here for me in a way that so many people never have, and it's just so like, ah. And so my capacity for love expanded from like to love someone is to see them to love someone is to sit with them in their suffering as well. That's also what it means to love someone in like another way. And so my heart really like I genuinely feel like got larger and that's required a lot of cracking open. And I would say that from this point in time, that point in time until now, it's just been a lot of me cracking my heart open. And I'm out of this space of kind of like focusing on this greatness and focusing on like the like goal accomplishment and like like me and I'm just kind of like how do I reconnect to like my kind of truest self for a while, and how do I sort of like just kind of feel everything that I'm kind of being asked to feel right now. And with that, I mean, I guess I just have to say this as a part of capturing it, but Bree and I obviously broke up. What is it? 3 months ago now. And that was a really crazy decision. That took a lot of time and effort, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done, without a doubt. Truly, and it still is the hardest thing I'm dealing with in terms of like the grief and the sadness and the trying to move forward, but same time like trying to kind of like reflect on everything. And I think it's led to a lot of growth that I didn't expect, and so that's been something that I can say about that whole situation that I find so funny was remember that paper I wrote, the regret paradox.
Yeah.
Um, I was thinking a lot about that with this breakup situation because regret I think is something that you and I have talked about extensively, and it's the thing that people are like a good life is one without regret. And one, I think that's bullshit, but two, I was sort of thinking like I wonder if I will look back later and like regret this breakup at all. And the regret paradox was like such an important part of doing it because I think it gave me the courage to actually like end the relationship. At that given time, like in that with that version of myself, like just did not feel like it was working in that way, shape, or form. And so it's funny because like as time has progressed, I was in this mentality of like, oh wait, no, I actually still do want to be in the relationship. Like, hold on. And so in that period of time, I was like, oh shit, like, do I regret this? And the craziest thing was I was like, oh no, I actually think I did the regret paradox correctly. Because the reality is, if my heart did not crack open in the way in which it had, I would have continued to be unhappy in the relationship. And I don't know if there was anything in that given time that actually could have cracked it open. Maybe it would have come eventually, but I don't think in this particular way would it have cracked open in the way in which it is now. And so even the potential to feel a regret for it came from the act of doing it itself, which I wouldn't have been able to feel it had I not done it. And so even when you're experiencing a feeling of regret in a moment, I don't even really think you can say that you regret that because had the thing not come, you wouldn't have even opened your heart to the experience of feeling the things that you actually really do appreciate it enough to feel a sense of regret. Because oftentimes when we're in something for long enough, like we do begin to lose all our appreciation of it because we no longer feel connected to it. And so oftentimes, like we were talking about earlier, when you lose something is genuinely when your heart feels connected to it. And so that's the only moment where you actually can feel regret. And so you can't even say that you regret the thing itself because you had to do that to even experience that. And so it's so funny because um, there's, a very strong likelihood that, do Bree and I end up somewhere down the future together? I don't know. As of right now, probably not. And that's, so sad to think about and feel and whatever, but, leave that to the universe type shit. But all I can say is like, when I think back on this whole feeling, I'm like, I can't even say there's regret to it because I had to crack my heart open in this way. And I would have never been able to do that had I not done that. To even feel the emotions that I'm feeling now in this particular way. And so it's one of those things that I'm like, damn, that is the regret paradox. Like I actually, like I lived it, like I'm living it. Like that's so crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of beautiful. So that's that situation. And that's honestly, one of the craziest things I'm probably going through in life right now. And then also another thing to note is just the craziness of being in Kansas and just dealing with all the kind of like crazy sleep stuff and God knows whatever else is going on. So it's a very chaotic and crazy time in my life. And I haven't been able to do a lot of the goals that I wanted to do this year. But I think that I'm sort of stepping away from like New Year's resolutions and being like, oh, my year has to look this way. And I'm really focusing like this first half of the year on like genuinely just like healing and whatever that means. And like letting my heart break and crack and open in whatever way it needs to. And then I think from there I'll set some goals that feel uh more real to the version of myself that will be there. Because I don't know who that's going to be. Because every month I feel so
Mm.
different.
Mm. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful to be able to capture all that because we've been talking all every other day or whatever. I mean, it's been a little less since I got to India, but I feel like these last 3 weeks, these last 3 months have definitely been so chaotic. Even I remember the regret paradox actually, like that. I remember reading that as I was walking around where I had taken the video from last time in Osaka. And it's so crazy now to hear you talk about it and like how much time has gone by since then. After you going back
Yeah.
and going through your whole kind of like flip-flopping of emotions and then having the heartbreak again, kind of just skewer you even harder. And then
Yeah.
coming back to Kansas and having the whole kind of sleeping and having the whole tough kind of it's been so tough. And then now finally getting the ability to go back to San Diego and that adventure lies ahead of you in a few weeks, where
I
you're gonna
know.
go back for a month. And so that's kind of who knows what comes out of that.
Who knows what comes out of that, dude? It's so like, oh, it's crazy. It's so crazy to be out of this sense of self that was so like intellectual. Um,
Yeah.
and now I genuinely feel so disconnected from everything that's like intellectual. It's so weird. And I think I actually like kind of realized why that was today. And it's kind of funny, but I think I built a kind of resentment towards intellectuality recently. Um, but now I think it's about figuring out how is it that I can move forward in my life, keeping this like sense of like connection to my emotions and this like rawness, but like also like reintroducing this sense of like intellectuality about life and thinking about things and coming from that space because I don't want to lose this feeling. Music sounds amazing. Poetry has been lit. Oh, I've read so many poems in the last couple like weeks. Like songs have been so dope. I've made so many playlists. Like I've been writing again. Like it's just been lit. And I'm like, oh, I just want to feel this vitality. And I think that's why artists keep themselves in these heartbreaks and all these things all the time. Cause I'm like, dude, this is like, I feel alive, even though there's so much pain. And that's such a strange thing. And like when I think back to like last year, like I felt so numb 24/7. I felt completely numb, dude. I felt nothing. I feel like I felt nothing all year, like genuinely. Um, and now I'm feeling so much that I'm just like, whoa, like I finding a middle ground in this is the path forward. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to capture, and it's gonna be so crazy. I'm sure next two birds, when we look back and we're like, what happened now?
Where
Oh
were
my
we
God.
then? Yeah, yeah, fuck.
That was crazy.
That is so crazy,
Oh,
huh? That we do that every
yeah.
time.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the journey. That's the journey of life that we get to capture. And there's gonna be moments like this that are extremely chaotic. And I know there's gonna be some point in time where we look at this in the future and it's really not chaotic at all. And life's actually feeling a little bit boring. And we're kind of like, damn, remember when you weren't sleeping and you were going through this and you were in India and you weren't feeling good and you were like feeling like, blah, blah. And yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I guess it's
I
just
guess
about,
that's where you need hope. You need some hope that it does. I don't even know if I want to use the word that it gets better, but I want to use like that some form of I guess you never get assurance that things are working out, but something like that would feel a little nice.
I guess you get indications that things make sense. It's like that Kierkegaard quote, like, life can only be lived moving forward, but only makes sense looking back. Like, I
Mm.
think there are things that happen sometimes where you're like, oh, okay, I see how all of this chaos. I think there are moments where when the chaos becomes ordered, when the chaos like actually like it looks like this like left, right, up, down, like I don't know where I was going, and then you look at it, you're like, oh no, that was actually creating an image, right? Like, and the image that was being created was this aspect of life that like is so like central to me now. Um,
Mm.
I even think about right like random like you being late to class and like blah blah and then meeting Yusuf. Like I'm sure in the moment you're just like, oh, this is just chaos. And then now you look back at it, and you're like, no, that's the story of how I met Yusuf. But it's not like so I don't know. I think
Mm.
we get those at least. Where like at some point in time later on this year, I will look back at this chapter of my life and I'll be like, oh no, that was the chapter of X, which led to Y, and now I see why that happened. So you get that at least, I think, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, I guess then the question is how much time does it take before you're able to like piece it together?
Ah, till the next two birds episodes. That's
Yeah.
the whatever that is. But I'm grateful to be on this journey with you, man. I'm grateful that we get to capture these moments and be in this time. And
It's so crazy. It's so cool. And
it's
honestly, I wanna say something. I want to appreciate something about you because this I'm thinking I'm like, oh, like why doesn't everyone do this? And the reason is a lot of the things that we shared today is super, super vulnerable. I mean, it really wasn't like just like, yeah, like and
yeah, yeah,
we really were down to have that recorded. I mean, I've like asked people, I'm like, hey, let's have these book clubs recorded or whatever. And
yeah.
like everyone's like, no, like I'm not comfortable actually being vulnerable and having that be recorded.
Mhm.
And so like the
Yes.
difficulty is actually having the to some extent the cojones to like be like, you know what? Like this is who I am and I'm
I mean,
not hiding.
that's such a good point, bro. I mean, how many other people do you know are down to go on a fucking podcast and talk about their difficulties with, you know, getting arrested as a young kid and becoming whatever, their difficulties with a breakup or their difficulties with masturbation. God, and you've done so many things. Todd. Like, I don't know anybody else who's down to go on a podcast and be like, I struggle with masturbation. Like, you are lit as hell for that, bro. It's crazy. Like, that's so crazy. Um, and people get to like watch this and maybe they judge, maybe they don't, maybe they think whatever, but like unless you're down to like hop on and have your stuff recorded and like let your soul like let the darkness of your soul come to light and like even have the courage to let other people look at it, like keep them judgments to yourself because it is kind of crazy. And I had this moment actually, I think you'd appreciate this. I was thinking about you. Um in my clinic, we had a or in my program we had a seminar and we were talking about professionalism. What's the value of professionalism? And I said this whole spiel about how I think professionalism is the antithesis to authenticity. Authenticity. Um, I think professionalism is literally how can I be as inauthentic as possible? Um, and this was in front of the whole department and like people like kind of jumped in or whatever. And my one of the professors replied, he said, well, it's important that like we maintain professionalism because we don't want to affect the students learning, like we have to like maintain things to make sure that the students learning stays there, and we have to keep things in our life like private to so it doesn't come out and affect the students learning. And I literally just asked the question. I was like, yeah, but what if we just let everything be seen and we just let our humanness be seen? Like what will happen? And like no one had an answer. Like everyone was just like, well, like it affects student learning. I'm like, what if it doesn't? Like what if it doesn't affect you? Like what if it affects it positively? What if they're actually like, oh, he's human too, like amazing. Um, and I don't know. I feel like it
Yes.
was a really dope moment.
Yes,
No
bro.
one had an answer. No
Yes.
one had an answer,
Yes,
but
dude. Yes.
it was cool.
What is so wrong with being a person?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It's the game, I guess.
But I
It's the
love you, dude.
final countdown. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. I love you too. Two birds. It's happened.
Yeah.
We've done it.
We
Turned
did
the
it.
TV off. Turned the TV
Thanks
off.
for being behind it. It was all definitely because of you.
Hey,
Thanks.
we made it happen, bro. It's a team effort, always.
All
Caw-caw!
right. All right. Tapping out. Three, two, one.